Hey guys, it's Jessie Golden here with thegoldensecrets.org. Welcome to my home. I grew up in Chicago, Illinois. My mom had a dance studio. She actually had the dance studio for 42 years. So I grew up in the studio as a ballerina. And then when I was 17, I moved to Florida, and that's when I started modeling for a living. And that's how eventually I migrated to California. And then a couple years after I had been here, I got diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, which kind of took me by surprise and took a lot of people by surprise because I was a vegetarian and I was healthy, and everybody, looked at me and I guess saw a healthy person, the epitome of health. And there I was being diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, which I had never heard of before. And my body slowly started shutting down, which was really scary. Coming from my background where I was a ballerina, and I kind of always had this attitude like I was bulletproof and I could get through anything. I had been on my own since I was 17, and I was independent and strong and never asked for help. And here I was, completely immobile, not able to hardly do anything. And at the time, I was already a mother. My son was 3 years old, and I was actually in school getting my yoga certification. I went into getting my yoga certification with an attitude of, I'm going to just go in there and get my certificate and call it a day. Because of my ballet background, I felt very confident about my yoga practice. And what happened was my body completely shut down. So I was the girl that could do all the crazy poses even before I got certified. And here I was walking into the class, shuffling into the class, not being able to do the asana work, the practice, the yoga practice. And after I had spoke to my teachers, they said that they were going to let me continue as long as I was there. So none of my peers knew that I was able, that I was mobile, and I would sit out the classes. And the magic thing that happened was my whole life I used dance and I used movement to transmute energy and to transmute my life and go, go, go. And I think that was part of the problem, is I was always going. I wasn't comfortable with stillness. And eventually my body shut down because I couldn't do everything. And what yoga did for me was getting my certification at the same exact time was I had to find stillness. I couldn't do the asana, which was my go-to. I had to learn to meditate. I had to sit still. I had to turn inward because my body, I wasn't listening to my body's signals, so the signals got progressively worse to the point where I was completely immobile. And then I went through this whole journey where I did what my doctors originally wanted me to do, which was immunosuppressants, and my body responded very harshly. I had all the negative side effects. So then the pendulum swung the other way, and I went completely Eastern. I hired a macrobiotic healing coach, and I had a healing chef 7 days a week. My life revolved around healing myself because I thought, if I'm going to live with this chronic disease for the rest of my life, I want to try everything I can in my power to heal myself instead of just relying on medicine. I was never really into medicine and pharmaceuticals, especially for a chronic illness. I just didn't see it as a positive way to live the rest of your life. So I dedicated my entire life to the macrobiotic way. My entire day was filled with from cooking foods to doing tinctures to body scrubs to compresses, everything to heal myself. And I gave that about 5 or 6 months, and I was at the worst point I had ever been. At 5'9", I was less than 100 pounds, and I could shuffle. I could do about a slow shuffle around 3 o'clock. I couldn't pick up my son. I had a chef because I could hardly use my hands to cook. Everything was swollen. And my family basically intervened and they said, okay, Jessie, you've tried everything that you possibly could naturally. You need to go back to the rheumatologist. So I did, and my rheumatologist said she's never seen anybody let themselves go that far without taking medication. So I finally gave medication a chance again, and I was on medication for a couple months, and my body responded very well to the medication this time. And I truly believe it was because my system was so clean, and I had done so much internal work trying to figure out why this was all happening to me. After not being able to really do anything for about 6 months, she hooked me up to an IV of steroids for an hour. And the next day, I started running. And I ran 5 miles a day for about a year. I never ran in my life. I was a ballerina. Ballerinas usually don't run. So I started getting really into fitness and trying to gain my muscle back because my body had basically atrophied. I had no muscle tone. I was just skin and bone. I really got into fitness. I was taking my medicine. And then I got to a point again where I felt so good, and just it really bothered me that I had to rely on this medicine. So I started weaning myself. I spoke to my doctor and I told her my concerns. And most people aren't able to wean themselves from the medicine. It's not recommended with immunosuppressants, but I did. And through all the things that I've learned through this whole process, I've been in remission now for 3 years off medication. And my story I became public with my story. And what happened was, the beautiful thing that happened was, a lot of people started contacting me. And they wanted to know how I did it. What did I do? The thing is, there is not one pill. It's not like a pill. It's not like you're going to go to the doctor and the doctor's going to give you this magic pill. Nothing exists like that, ever. So if you think that, if somebody tells you that, they're lying. It takes a lot of work, a lot of internal work, dissecting, being your own doctor, finding out your triggers, your inflammatory responses, what your body responds to. And so I was getting all these emails and messages on social media about people begging for help because there aren't a lot of resources out there for people with autoimmune disease. And I felt a lot of, not pressure, but I felt obligated to respond to everybody's emails because I knew what they were going through, the heartache they were going through. And when I was going through it myself, not having anybody that I could reach out to and be a hope and inspiration for me. So I couldn't respond to everybody's emails, so I decided to start a blog, thegoldensecrets.org. And I wanted to start sharing my secrets as to how I healed myself. And now it's transpired into everything that I enjoy. It's basically a live journal, so to speak. I'm very transparent, and I talk about things, and I don't in any way think that I know everything that I'm saying. I'm just sharing what works for me in hopes to inspire and help somebody else. And I'm so honored to be where I am now, to have this platform to be able to speak through my blog and through VIVA GLAM and other resources. If I could help one person or be an inspiration to somebody, then it was all worth it. And I actually think that having rheumatoid arthritis is a gift, and it's part of my character now. Kind of made me who I am.